Hello, is that Jess?
Hi there.
Hi, Jess. How are you doing? This is Tony from Common 100.
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Also have David. He's our head of solutions. We want to learn a little bit about your use case and get a better picture as well, how you use our product. So David is also on the call as well.
Okay, great.
Awesome. It looks like might have someone else might be joining us. So just bear with us if you do see someone in the meeting. But at this point, I think it's suffice to say that we can begin this process there. First of all, I really want to, thank you for a couple of things there. So the first one is obviously consenting or agreeing to providing feedback regarding our product. The second one being that I know the last number of weeks you and I have been working extensively to ensure that your organization doesn't phase out. But I guess it just came down to pricing and all that we'll get into, and there's not much that could have been done. But I do appreciate you liaising that information over to me. And I do really wholeheartedly appreciate your efforts as well. So thank you so much for that as well.
Of course.
On that note, I just wanted to ask you, and you can bring David and I up to speed as well, a little bit about, maybe you can tell us about your organization in a few words, and you can also tell us maybe about how you, what was your use case with the live chat as well.
Yes. So when we started with Com 100, it was kind of a test that we were doing just to see if even chat was a viable source for us. We do not have any pricing on our website, and a lot of our clients come in and kind of take a look at the different package offerings that we have, and we've got them broken out really by the number of members on a team for real estate agents. As large as the teams get larger, usually they need more complex tools. But we get a lot of people that come in and say, oh, I need the advanced solution, and they ask for pricing on that. And the advanced solution is really for teams who have multiple offices across maybe different states and need to be able to tie everything together for reporting purposes. And I'll ask them, okay, great, tell me a little bit about your business, and they're a team of one. So we have a lot of education that we try to provide to people, because they do end up coming to our site, looking at the pricing. When we've had it up there and they try to self-identify, when really we try to have our sales team try to find the best product that will be the best solution for them. Trying to not have them bite off more than they can chew, but also making sure that they have the correct features that a team of their size or a business of their size really needs. So started with Com 100, and it's, up until now, I'm on it right now. It's been a manual chat for me. I'm the only one manning it. I have been with Boomtown for about 5.5 years. So I have a really good understanding of our product as well as our clients and, kind of our prospects. I started as a success manager, so worked with our clients, so kind of have a really good pulse on what's going on. So we kind of started it as a way to help tie it into my marketing goals to help increase sales. And so, like I said, it's been a manual process up until now. And I think when we really to kind of see that maybe there was a little issues was with the Salesforce integration, because right now process I am going.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. Are you dialing in, or are you using a mic on your phone?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, you just broke up for a few seconds over there. It's better now.
Okay, no, I'm at my house. I'm dialing in on my cell phone, so there shouldn't really be any issues. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's much better. Thank you so much.
Okay. So did you get what I just said?
Yeah, no, I got it. So what I'll do is I'll mute myself. I think there's some construction going on in the back end here, so I'll mute myself every time I'm not talking. But thank you so much. I appreciate the use case. In terms of you said you were touching base on Salesforce integration. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that piece for us? How you're using the integration, maybe with Intercom, and what value, or if you found value from using our integration as well, and what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So we actually ended up going with Drift, not Intercom. And so I'm in the process. I've got everything up in staging, and I'm getting ready to launch this week. What we really needed to be able to do was, with the integration with COM100, it was kind of messy for us. All of the fields that we have in Salesforce populated, and some of that might have to do with the way that we have our Salesforce set up, but it's kind of been that way for years, and they're not going to redo the architecture just for the COM100 integration, because we have a lot more leads coming in from different sources that do have the correct information that pipe into the fields. With Drift, for example, the integration took like 30 seconds to set up, and it goes ahead and maps the information over to the corresponding fields based on the questions that we've asked in the bot, or any questions that I've asked in a manual conversation. So we're only having information that we want to transfer over being transferred into Salesforce. It doesn't have to have everything. When we had the integration with COM100, there were certain fields that were starred that were making us go ahead and have those fields filled out. And like I said, a lot of it could just do with how we have things set up for Salesforce, but they're not going to adjust any of that just for one source.
Okay. And did you have a chance to, the last time we chatted, I did communicate to you that we updated our Salesforce integration just a few weeks ago. Did you have a chance to look at the latest piece or latest updated Salesforce integration?
I had looked at whatever you had sent me, but honestly, I've been traveling the last couple of weeks, but I didn't see anything that made a difference to us, unfortunately.
Got it. Okay.
No, Jess, that's all really great information for us to know and understand. It sounds like to me, if I may paraphrase, some of the Salesforce pieces that were integrated with the chatbot, or with the I would say kind of the logic behind Drift solution is capturing some information from your customers, and then simply just automatically mapping that data to corresponding fields within their backend. And for COM100 solution, it was a little bit, or quite a bit more effort for your team in order to be able to manually map information over between COM100's variables and Salesforce's piece to be able to make it useful for your agents.
Exactly.
No, we tried to have, I think we might be biting ourselves or stepping on our own toes when we built the integration. The intention that I had with the team in building the Salesforce integration was to try to import everything from a customer Salesforce account, and then simply provide freedom and flexibility to map what you wanted to corresponding information within COM100. It's great feedback from you, so that this might not be the best approach, or that we might need to come up with some tools or some methods to help customers out on this process. So that's really my takeaway here from this conversation so far, that we need to do a little better job when I think directing or helping customers out with the mapping piece there.
Yeah, for me, it was just a little confusing, honestly, in the beginning. And then I think in the back, there's like, I forget what it's called. It's like you can select fields that you want to show. or display, I think it was. So my manager and I were going through this and we're thinking, okay, great. These are the 7 fields we want. We want to know their price point, or we want to know like the things that I'm looking for our chatbot to capture, or for myself to manually capture. I'm looking for their production volume last year. I'm looking for how many agents they need on the platform. And I am looking for, if they are a broker, an owner, or if they're just a single agent. Those are kind of the 3 main things that I'm looking for. So we narrowed it down to those fields, and we were like, great, these are the only ones that are going to be mapped over. And after I went back and forth with your customer service team, I realized that those were just the fields that would display in COM100 and remain there in the sidebar. So we were just confused too on that, if that makes sense to you. This was like 4 months ago when we tried to set this up.
Yeah.
And I realized what the display field actually meant. We were like, oh, okay.
Gotcha. That was actually there was a recent change that where we had pushed an update to our Salesforce, and it actually broke one of our features. And we recently pushed a change, I think about 2 months ago now, or a month and a half ago now, where it fixed that exact use case that you're just describing. The original intention that we had was you can go into the back end of COM100 and choose different fields to display. And so the intention being that if a customer does not exist and we're doing a manual creation for them, for example, then it's only going to display those fields during the creation. And if they do exist, then again, we should only be displaying those fields for those customers as well.
Okay.
But it's helpful feedback for us, or for myself, to go back to the rest of the product team and say, guys, we got to put our heads together to come up with some assisting resources here, or at the very least, maybe some tool tips that explain some of the interface and the logic there. Yep. No, it's all very helpful stuff.
Great.
Very awesome. Thanks, David. Just one or two other questions that I want to get your feedback on was, other than you noted about Salesforce integration and using it for lead gen, what were some of the features on the surface that you liked about our live chat?
I don't even know how we found you guys. But so one thing, so I like that it's really easy for me to use on the back end. Once we set it up, it was pretty simple for me to go in and create my canned responses, which is something that I use frequently because I get a lot of questions about pricing or kind of what Boomtown does. So in a nutshell, I can kind of have my elevator pitch there. If I get questions about support, I can have, an easy response that goes, to the, person on the other end, so that I'm not wasting my time or their time because I can't answer any support questions. So we definitely liked the ease of use in terms of getting everything set up. Was something that I could get up and running, in an hour.
Sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, one thing that our team did have not like an issue with, but the design of the chatbot, or not the chatbot, sorry, the chat widget, it was a little large for us with how much of the screen it took up.
Oh, okay.
And I think we were looking for something that was like a little bit sleeker. We changed, I know in the back end you can kind of change what it looks like on the actual screen, but some of my coworkers said that it was stuck in 1999. It's a little large for what we wanted. It like took up a big portion of the screen. And for that reason, we actually never enabled it on mobile traffic.
Oh, okay.
So that's just feedback. And I was like, listen, it's
for sure.
We're leaving it as it is, like it might be boxy or whatever. I think we were looking for something that was like a little bit smaller, that would be a little more discreet on the page, that would still, pop up and say, hey, if you have any questions, blah, 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 but just something, I think maybe that was like, we tried to make it as in line with our brand as we could, given the options that we had.
Okay. And how how easy was it to get in touch with the support or customer success? Were you aware of those channels? Is there anything that we can do differently on that regards, getting in touch with our customer service?
Yeah, Tony, before I got transferred to you, I think I was working with someone named Prit. I'm not sure. But kind of after I was set up on the system, it kind of went radio silent until you kind of came into the picture. I understand that we are paying like $79 a month, which might be one of your lowest tiers. We have that too, where some of our clients are on like a tech touch, and then we have higher, not priority clients, but different levels of clients that are, have a one-on-one success manager. The relationship is ongoing. So I totally get that. So I don't think we were, expecting like white glove service. But if I had a question, I think with Prit, for example, like sometimes I would email him and I wouldn't hear back from him for weeks. Like I had a question once about like what it would cost for us to add another user, because we did have an SDR manager at the time who I thought it might be beneficial for her to have access, and I couldn't get information on what the pricing was, and she ended up leaving the company anyway, so that problem kind of dissolved. I think the only other emails I really got was if you guys were hosting a webinar or something, but other than that, I never really received any communication, and the support team, when I did email them, was pretty fast. I would say it was, I think it was only once that I really emailed them, and I want to say it was within 24 hours, or it might have been a little bit longer than that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Why was there a bit of a reluctancy on your end to get in touch with support? Is it because you were thinking that you didn't have any technical issues, or is it that just because you were not able to get a hold of your contact and you didn't get any replies? Were you having any issues with our live chat after implementing it, technical or non-technical, other than the live one that you know of?
Yeah, I think we really didn't have many technical issues. Like I said in the beginning, it was just really kind of a manual test. And then when we started to see that this was a viable channel for us, we started to sit down and say, okay, we need to get this stuff into Salesforce, because right now when a chat lead comes in, I manually email the SDR team and they go ahead and get the information with the phone number, the email address, all that stuff, and then set the lead up in Salesforce. So I am tracking everything right now in a Google spreadsheet. So we want to be able to have everything transfer seamlessly into Salesforce so that it's made easy for the sales team to follow up with the leads, as well as for me to pull a report of everything that has come from chat. And I can then say, okay, we created this many leads, they transitioned into this many opportunities. This is the pipeline that we've created in a specific amount of time from chat, for example. So I would say we started to kind of think about that this spring. So it had been like a good, 8 months or so that we were on Com100, just kind of coasting and just really trying to get, figure out exactly how many leads per month are coming in, what the transfer rate looks like, what the close rate looks like on these leads, and just trying to vet the quality of them. So we really didn't have any technical issues. And then when we kind of saw the Salesforce issues that we were having, we kind of thought that we would need to maybe either talk further with your team or explore some other options for us.
Okay. And what would you be able to share any data with us in terms of what did the conversion rate looks like, the number of leads were generated through live chat, if Com100 live chat, what impact it had on your sales side, on the lead generation side? Do you have any numbers that you can share with us? For example, how many chats or total leads converted, anything along those lines?
Yeah, I don't necessarily have number of conversations, and it's something that, so like I'm talking to you right now, I just paused my chat because I was getting messages and I can't respond when I'm concentrating on something else. So, one of the reasons why we decided that we needed a bot was because it's limited to just me. I'm the only person that has ever chatted with anybody online. I got married last year. I was out of the office for 2 weeks. I took vacation this summer. So anytime I'm out of the office, it's off. Anytime I'm in a meeting, which has gotten more frequently lately, I've been turning it off because I will get multiple chats at one time, and I can't multitask that much and sit in a meeting and listen and chat with somebody. We recently had changed it to fire the chat widget on the first visit, where for a while then, before that, we had it to fire on the second site visit. And when we had it fire immediately on the first visit, we've seen a huge uptick in the volume. I some days can go with 20 chats a day, which this is a small portion of the role that I do for Boomtown. I'm the digital marketing analyst, so I run all of our Facebook, all of our social media paid ads. I do all of our organic ads as well, do this chat lead development, and then I kind of have my hands in other things, some strategy and things like that with our overall advertising. So we tried to figure out a way to maximize what we have and what we've seen. I can tell you right now that since we have implemented this, which was June of last year, we have generated $240,000 in profit for the company, which is pretty good considering, like I said, it's just me. We've generated about 72 leads that have been sent over to our sales reps. And that's, like I said, I can have 20 conversations a day. I get a lot that are support questions. I get questions where people just are not ready to speak to a sales representative, and I don't want to push them over to our sales team if they're not. The rate from a lead going to an opportunity, which is once they speak with a sales development representative, usually at that point they go through pricing. We are a premium product on the market, so our minimum pricing starts at $1,000. And for a single agent, for example, that's a lot of money to bite off for a month, and we have a 12-month contract. So trying to kind of weed out the people that are just like looking for price information and realize, oh my God, I can get something else for $100. There's no way I'm spending $1,000. So even though the volume might be low, the rate of having somebody transferred as a lead and then transition to an opportunity is at 60%, which is a super high rate. And the close rate is about 40 to 50%. Yeah, the close rate is about 40 to 50% as well. So like when the sales team gets these leads, like they're on it immediately. Like I had one the other day that I think I transferred over, and in 2 days they signed with us. It was an $8,000 deal. And our normal cycle is about 30 days. So usually if I can get somebody interested and I can get them over the pricing hurdle, I find a lot of people that call me that, real estate agents, they're on the go, they're busy, they're between appointments. And I get a lot of people that are like, I'm in a meeting, I can't pick up and call your sales team. This is why I'm chatting with you to get this information. So I think it's just like a more accessible way of them, communicating with us, if they don't have time to pick up the phone or they, get an email. And we're kind of revamping our sales process as well, but maybe they're thinking like, I just want the answers. I don't want to talk to somebody for 20 minutes. Like I need to know the pricing before I make a decision on anything. Like that's my biggest factor. And if they can get that answer from me in 30 seconds, and kind of, answer any other questions, and I can get them over to a sales team member, a lot of times pricing is the biggest thing. So 9 out of 10 times we're talking pricing, and the transfer rate's pretty high.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, it's a trend that we're seeing as well with a lot of our customers. I mean, we're finding that that phone support is on an overall trend downwards, and just chat in general is the medium of choice at the very least for for generation X and Y. So it's really quite interesting for I would say just people wanting to get information in the quickest, fastest, easiest way possible, right?
Yeah.
Yep. No, but it's holy smokes. You guys have really been able, you in particular have really been able to utilize chat to a huge degree and have it, I would say, have a meaningful impact on your organization. So it's kudos to you. That actually is really great. And it's information that I'll be able to share with our marketing team.
Yeah, I had a guy yesterday who, he was already in our system. He was a lead at that time. He was not yet an opportunity. And so he had kind of went radio silent. Let me look him up here. He had kind of went radio silent, and I get a lot of people that come back. And whenever I go and check with the team, before I send the email to the SDR manager, I make sure that they're not already in Salesforce. And sometimes I find them, sometimes I don't. But for example, like this guy came in yesterday, he had went radio silent. The last time he spoke with somebody was in September of last year. So he comes back, he wants more information. He was transferred over to an SDR. The SDR talked to him. I had talked pricing with him. The SDR talks to him. They send him over to a sales rep. He goes through the whole process, and I'm looking at the notes today, and the sales rep was like, I had a great call with him. Definitely moving into the presentation stage, which if they get, that's like pretty much the final stage before a contract goes out. And this contract would be for over $17,000. So it's for us, just to see these people, one, you can kind of get them, they move quickly. And so I'm getting a lot of people too that like have heard of us in the past and come back and want more information. But hoping that we can get this guy closed. But I've had people close in a week. I've had people close in like 2 days. But our average cycle is about 30 days. If we can, otherwise they kind of like fall off the bandwagon, get distracted, or some other person sells them on something that's cheaper and then they use it for 6 months and they're like, that sucks, and they come back to us. Definitely a viable source, and they're just trying to figure out how we can maximize this when I'm not online, and also with the other responsibilities that are continually being put on my plate. Because I could be a chat agent all day, every day, and that could be my only job. But I've got a lot of other things going on. So that's why they were really looking into a bot to see like, how can we automate some of this as well, and maximize this for the people that are maybe looking at 8, 9 o'clock at night, after their kids are in bed or after they've eaten dinner or whatever, and I'm not online working at that time.
Of course. Yeah, no, having the 24/7 support that a bot potentially can offer is definitely something that a lot of our enterprise customers are starting to move towards, and our SMB customers are they're the ones that are kind of our breadwinners, I would say, when it comes to chatbots, because their organizations are a little bit more nimble, and they're willing to kind of put something that's maybe a little bit more cutting edge, just kind of into their sales process or their support process than some of the bigger guys are. It's cool. Tony, I've got the information that I need, or that I was kind of hoping to get from Jess. And Jess, you've been extremely candid and forthcoming with information, so I do appreciate that. And I am sorry to see you leave, and it sounds like we dropped the ball as well on some of the follow-up and overall, not white glove service, but just overall service for your team. So that's something that I'll be definitely having a few conversations with my organization to improve. So I do apologize on behalf of the organization for that. But
oh, no worries. I think honestly, I forgot, like I said, how we found you. Might have just been doing some research, and came across you guys, saw the free trial. We were like, let's try it out, let's see, and we closed the deal within the 3-month trial. So we were like, okay, this is right then and there, like, let's, sign up. So definitely, I think for the beginning, it was really easy for us, like I said, to get up and running on this. We really had no issues. The system never broke. We never got logged out or anything like that. I think we really just weren't honestly sure what we needed at the time. And we were like, let's just put a chat widget on the site and see if people engage with it, which they did. And I think now what we're really looking for the pricing for Drift, for example, we're paying, I think it's like $500 a month. It's no contract, which is nice for us, because we were like, what if this doesn't work out? And the way that we're using chat is we just kind of really want to get somebody over to our sales team member. Our support team doesn't chat. I'm not transferring the chats to anybody else. So our support team does not want to chat. It's something that's been brought up. I don't have anybody else to transfer their information to, or their chat to, for somebody else to take it over. If they need to email somebody, sometimes I'll be like, if they're trying to get us to like sponsor an event or something, I'll be like, you can email our marketing team, whatever. But the chat ends with me. So really, we're just using it to help answer some questions and try and qualify people. So that's where, when we kind of figured out there's a lot of solutions where it'll work for, agents and customer support and things like that we are not utilizing. So I think we needed a little bit more hand-holding in finding a solution that would be able to set us up for lead capture and conversion.
Yeah, honestly, I have no doubt in my mind that the COM100 solution would would be able to deliver on kind of what your needs and benefits are. However, it just as you put it, you guys needed a little bit more handholding, and that's where I you know, as kind of part of the face for the executive team here at COM100, I'll take the brunt of that responsibility and say that we dropped the ball on that handholding for you. So that's what I need to make sure it never happens again for anybody else, regardless of the size of the deal. So and that's where I appreciate you providing that kind of feedback here. So
yeah, no, I definitely don't want, we definitely
likewise,
we definitely enjoyed using the product. Like I said, we had no issues. Which was really great because if there's an issue in our service, our clients are emailing us and being like, your system was down for 5 minutes. I've calculated exactly how much money you owe me. We never had any issues or anything like that. I think that we weren't sure when we went to Intercom, it was a huge, all their support is chat, which is great. But when you have all these questions, I'm like, can I just get on the phone with somebody? I don't have time to wait for responses of chats back over 2 days here. We need to get this up and running. I can't be doing this for 3 months. So that was something that we realized, and they were just building out their custom bot functionality. And I was like, this might be great in a year, but for right now, this isn't what we need. And Drift kind of has it down pat for now. They really have it to a science. They have a customer success team, very similar to how we, with our software, how we're not just handing you the keys and saying, hey, thanks for signing up, here's a playbook, see you later. I've had 2 calls with my customer service or my customer success manager. He's really quick to get back to me, and kind of when I built my bot, he sat down with me, went over it. We shared our screen. He kind of helped me get it up and running. I was able to build it out custom on my own, and then he kind of gave me some feedback and stuff like that. And then it seems like that's how the relationship goes from there. So just kind of looking for some support and seeing how other customers do it. They sent me this whole link of really good chat bots is what it's called or something. And it shows just examples of other different websites and other different companies and different spaces, how their chat bots function. And it kind of goes through it. So it's just nice to be able to model it and kind of take a look at how other people do it.
No, of course. I mean, chatbots are so brand new. It's very cool.
Sorry?
Jess, how long did it take to get the bot up and running, working with the CS manager over there?
I would say I had it up and running in 2 days. So what we did is we got everything set up manually because we knew that our contract with COM100 was ending. So at the least I needed to be able to manually chat in Drift. And once I got that up and running, I had my first call with him. He kind of just asked for some preliminary information about what we were using the chatbot for, what our business model is, all that kind of stuff. And then showed me, where to go and build a custom bot. And I actually really didn't have to watch that many videos. It's pretty easy. And I want to say in a day or 2, I had pretty much most of it built out. And then I sat down with our VP of marketing, kind of went through what we had. And then I had my second call with him. So I would say within a day or 2, it was really easy to get the bot up and running.
How much content you have for the bot? Or you imported into the bot if you had any content, or did you build it from scratch?
I built it from scratch. He suggested they have a couple of pre-made templates, for getting more appointments or getting more calls or conversions. So he suggested that I build it from scratch, which is what I did. And I modeled it off of, we have a product comparison form on our website, which helps our prospects go to the site and try and determine what package might be the best fit for them. And then I also met with our SDR manager and tried to see if there was 4 pieces of information that he definitely wanted to have in the bot. Most of that was information that is in the product comparison form. But for example, he said location for him was huge. It helped with the time zone for when the SDRs needed to be reaching out, as well as making sure that the MLS was something that we worked with. So that is where I got the content from, and I created all the questions from scratch.
Okay, thank you so much for that information. And in terms of Drift, you alluded to the live chat was something that they included for free of charge or no additional charge. Correct me if I'm wrong here. because you're invested into their bots and you're paying about 500 per month with no annual contract. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so that you have the option to have the chat widget on the site, which is where you can manually chat, as well as the bot. So it's all included. So I think it's like it's their enterprise solution or something like that, but we're at the highest level, and I think it gives you like up to 5 users. We're only using me for now, and I'll probably set my manager up so he can go in there and play around. But they have a ton of integrations as well. So you can do like the Salesforce integration. They have an integration with Google Calendar. So that's how we can go ahead and drop in the calendars for the team to automatically have a call scheduled with the SDR. I won't have to, send any information over to the team lead to set the leads up. They'll automatically be in there, and then the appointments will be booked. And they also have an integration with Slack, which is really cool. I haven't gotten the chance to do anything with that, but we use Slack in our office. So I think I actually have the ability to use Slack to communicate with anybody that I need to, and it like all logs it into Drift.
Okay, got it. And now we have touched base on quite a number of things in this meeting. If you were the head of a product, so you were, let's say, creating a live chat today for lead generation or sales, and I believe that's your domain. What would that look like today, and maybe going forward in the future? You would use AI. How would you build it? What would be some of the key features that would pertain to you? So on the sales and lead generation side, for example, Salesforce would be one, let's say bot. If you were building that product today, what would that look like?
Yeah, definitely having the Salesforce integration, being able to go ahead and schedule a call or a meeting directly through the bot is something that is super valuable for us. Being able to have different pathways. So for example, if somebody, is a single agent, for example, but if their production volume is super high, they're just killing it, they might be a better fit for one of our larger packages because they might be a more advanced agent. So just being able to like have if and or but for answers. Some of the other bots we looked at were very linear, and it was like, if they clicked this, they could only go here. So that was something that was really important to us. Trying to think what else. One thing I like too is the Drift. You can't go to our site right now because it's on the staging site, but it will be live later this week, and the following week. With Drift, it's like we got a custom icon. So for example, our bot is named Boomer because Boomtown. And so like the icon that we created was a dog. So it looks like a little dog emoji thing. And it just, I don't know, it fits our brand really well. And my success manager guy was like, this is awesome. Like, I love this bot. So it just is like easy for us. Like we have dogs in our office. We're like a super kind of like Google company. Like you can wear yoga pants and shorts, and we have beer on tap and bourbon, and it's like a fun environment as well. We definitely get our work done, but it's a super relaxed kind of fun company. So I think that this like kind of helps showcase our brand too. That's one thing that we have our clients come to our office and they're like, this place is amazing. Like I would never leave. So I feel like the bot is able to kind of showcase our brand too. And it kind of fits with who we are.
Okay. That's good.
And how important is the UI overall for you and for your customers? Let's say for the bot and the live chat, you obviously alluded to that. That's one of the concerns that you had with our live chat was, and you didn't activate it on the mobile because the window was quite, I guess, large. But how important to you is the UI piece of the live chat, and what would be the ideal UI look like for you for live chat or for the bot?
Yeah, it definitely is really important for us because if they're not having a good experience on that, they could be like turned off and not come back, or not, continue the conversation with me. So I would say it's really important for us. We work really hard on our website to, make sure that the UI is good for that and that the customers and prospects are having a great experience and can easily find things. Yeah, one of the reasons we didn't, open this up to mobile traffic, which is where a ton of our traffic is coming. So we're really excited to be able to do that, to see what that does for the chat volume. Yeah, it just took up too much of the screen. We had tested it on like a mobile experience, and it just wasn't what we wanted. And I kind of had enough to deal with anyway. I was getting enough volume that we never thought, like, we need to turn this on. And we only have it on certain pages. We have it on our homepage, and then we have it on our different product pages, as well as our product comparison. If somebody's looking at our blog or somebody's looking at the success stories, we kind of didn't want to have the chat pop up. And that's the same thing that we're doing when we're moving to Drift. But I think just something smaller, it just the window was just kind of too large, and a lot of people had made comments on it.
Okay, thank you.
It's ironic. You can actually change the size of the window fairly easily, but it's not the most obvious way. No, but
I had looked in the back end and couldn't figure out. There was I knew if you chose the different formats of it. Was that what you're talking about?
No, there was to change we have a default window size, but there is actually a file that you can edit and you can change the window size in the file, but it's a moot point at this point. I won't waste your time going through it.
I looked in the back end and couldn't find anything that I saw, so I couldn't.
Fair enough. Nope, we need to make that user experience a little better.
I just one or two questions left, and then maybe David, if he has any other questions, he can chime in as well. Let me just ask you this: when was the last time Calm 100 exceeded your expectations?
I would say honestly, throughout, prior to us realizing what the Salesforce, integration, I would say up until then it exceeded our expectations. Especially from the, free trial that we started with for the 1 month. We were able to close a deal that generated $7,000 in business off of a free trial for us. So that was a huge win. And that was something for me that was a great use case to say, hey, let's sign up for the service that's $70 a month. No questions asked. The price point for us is easy enough that it didn't have to get approved through anybody really. My boss was like, great, here you go. But I would say definitely throughout the free trial, as well as, the months that we've used it. This is, while we're moving away from this is kind of what's got us started. This is definitely something that's helped me prove the case. So the ease of use and getting this up and running has been great for us.
Yeah, honestly, one of our differentiators that we have identified quite a long time ago was our kind of overall ease of use and user experience there. So things that you've found that are not particularly great user experiences, I'm hypersensitive to, and will be changed. Or at the very least, we're going to try to figure out ways to figure it out.
Everybody can always be better, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And constantly improve.
Yeah. No, it's the best. I think it's the best kind of attitude to have, especially in today's marketplace where there's no shortage of competition, right?
Yeah, we feel the same way.
All right, David, do you have any other questions for Jess?
Nope, not at all. Jess, you've been extremely generous with your information, and I can't thank you enough.
Oh, of course. Yeah, and thank you guys for helping us out here. Like I said, you really helped me prove my use case here, and really got us off and running, and you've helped us generate over, almost $250,000 in revenue. So, definitely no bad blood.
Hey, thank you so much. Yes, maybe I think the last question that I have is regarding the pricing model. Would you say it's aligned with what you're looking for in the market in terms of a pricing model for live chat? And maybe you can touch base on the bot pricing as well. If you were obviously looking for a bot, what does your ideal pricing looks like for a bot? How would you want it to be structured for, let's say, your type of business, for the small business, large, I guess, business size?
Yeah, you know, I would say definitely, you know, we didn't want to go over that $500 limit, which is what we're paying with Drift. It actually might be 400. They might have given us a discount if I kind of played hardball with the guy. I can't remember. But you know, we knew that we were going to be paying a couple $100. With the nice thing about Drift is that we got the manual chat option as well as the bot option rolled into that, so it's not like we had to pay extra. We don't have any issues right now. They gave us like 5 users, but like I said, for right now, it's just me. Eventually, this may be transitioned over to the sales team, which is something, you know, our sales team is about 30 people deep. So at that point, if we need to adjust the users and stuff like that and go into negotiations for pricing, that's something that we'll deal with at that time. But yeah, I think we were just looking for something that kind of gave us everything. You know, and the bot functionality, we wanted it to be smart and intuitive, but we didn't need something that was so detailed because we are not, again, like, you know, if somebody comes to our site and is asking for information on like where they can find an article and where they can do this, the back end of our system is where any of our current clients can access our help portal. So like if somebody comes in with a support question right now, the same thing I've done on Com100 and the same thing that I'm doing with Drift is saying, you know, I'm so sorry I'm having trouble. Please contact our support team, giving their email address and giving the phone number and allowing the user to then go ahead and reach out. You know, I don't, you know, really foresee us like having this bot being able to be like, you're looking for XYZ article, please go. Like, not that we still want to create a great user experience, but we, you know, like our support team doesn't chat and we don't want to end up, you know, getting the user frustrated. I want to get them over to the team that can help them and get them there the fastest. So that was another thing too, is like we needed the functionality, but we didn't need any like crazy in-depth functionality of being able to like transfer between people and all that kind of stuff. We really just are using the bot, like I said, just for lead capture and engagement and conversions. So we needed something that would get that portion done. And a lot of the other bots that are super well built out are made for these companies, I think, that are using them in different cases besides us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, the bot model has to be kind of well built out and well described ahead of time for the specific case, right? Just it doesn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah, and a lot of them that are so built out and great are like, you know, for support teams that are chatting, you know, like if I need to upgrade my phone, I can go to AT&T and talk to somebody. I can set up a cable service using a chatbot on Comcast or whatever. So we're just using it as a way to be like, here's another method of communication that you can use to get your general information out of. But in terms of any clients, you know, this isn't the method of communication that we want to use at this time. So I try and continue to keep the user experience as best I can, but I also am like, I can't help you on this question and I don't want to waste your time. So here's the team that can get you that information. Like, here's where to go.
Okay. I think maybe the last question I have for the marketing team here is on behalf of the marketing team. Did you ever join or read any collateral that was sent over from marketing, maybe blogs, articles, or did you join any webinars in the past for Com100?
I think I had one webinar when you got joined one webinar, maybe when you guys had just released the bot, or this is back, I think, at the end of last year. That was pretty much it.
Okay.
Okay. And what was the best, I would say the communication route would be to sort of entice you to, or the best communication channel, I would say, that would help you get into the webinars or at least look at the collateral? Would it be in-app, pop-ups, emails? You know, what is the best way for you, the preferred communication that you like?
Probably in-app, honestly, because I'm in there every day. You know, in my email, a lot of times I'm trying to sift through and figure out what I need to address and what I don't need to address. Sometimes if the headline strikes me, you know, like when it was talking about a chatbot, I was like, ooh, I need to look at this because I knew that was something that we were going to be looking at down the line. But, you know, or maybe both, maybe email and in-app messaging.
Okay, sounds good. I think I've asked enough questions, and this has been a really informative meeting interview session. I cannot personally thank you enough, and on behalf of Com100 team as well, for your candor and for your time this afternoon. It's kind of, sad to see you go. I wish there was much more we could have done. And I think for the last number of months, you and I tried everything, but there was just something that we just simply couldn't compete with. But we really, really appreciate your time this afternoon. David, do you have any other thoughts or questions or feedback?
Nope, not at all. It's been a great conversation, great dialogue. I'm very, very happy.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time.
Of course.
Hey, thank you, Jess. Thanks, David. Take care.
All right, have a good
one.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day, Jess. Bye-bye now.
Bye.